believe. I might be wrong on the name, but I didn't think it was that good, and I checked it out, but like I said, I didn't like it.
It's because sci-fi. I'm sorry, sci-fi, but you're just not that good.
It's not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Continuing with the cast, Lynn Shay, of so much stuff I don't even know, but her more recent efforts would probably be the Insidious trilogy. I think she comes out in all of them. And Melanie Linsky, who I just realized that was her, the girl who's obsessed with jam. She's just now starting. She's been around for years, but I feel like she's just starting to pop off now. At least where I'm seeing her all around.
Well, she's from 2.5 Men, so I think she's kind of been famous for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she's more known for that. She's like the crazy neighbor. But yeah, I've seen her in other things too. She's a cute girl.
Yeah, for sure. She's in that one of the first movies we talked about, that Netflix original. What's it called? I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. Which is great. You guys should check that out if you haven't yet. And so I'll jump into the Swan summary. The film follows 4 Ohio teens, Hawk, Lex, Trip, and Jam, on a mission to see what then was known as the hottest band in the world. Who was obviously Kiss. It's set in the late 70s, 1978, I believe the year was.
So, just to interrupt you real quick, I think I noticed this in the past, but I never actually thought about the year. But when the high school teacher is reading, when they're in detention or in their science class, the paper says mass suicide in Jonestown, cyanide in the Kool-Aid, and that's a reference to Jim Jones, the cult leader who ended up, killing like 900 plus people. But that's the tie into the year. I think other indicators, of course, like their attire and, other things around there, like what's popular at the time. But I think that's a really good indicator of like the month and the year. Yeah. So, yeah. But keep going.
All right, so it was set in the late 70s. Things get tense for these dudes as they watch. I actually put for the duders.
Oh, I like that.
As they watch their sacred tickets get burned up by Jam's overly religious mother. I believe they're Catholic, or that's what they practice. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what it looks like from the Catholic school that he's sent to.
And then I just put, will they make it to Detroit? And that's the summary without killing too much. I don't know if we're going to spoil this or not. Spoilers possibly ahead.
I think people should have already seen this. But if it has low ratings, then I can imagine not as many people have seen it. But I love this movie.
Or people hate it.
No, people do not hate it.
I don't know.
Whoever rated those on Rotten Tomato, they were really fucking high.
That's, silly. I don't know. Do you want to do questions first, or do you want to do some Swan facts about it?
I'm open for some questions. Let's do that.
Okay, cool. Let's see. So my questions for you, Toy Doll Annie. Why do you love this movie so much?
Oh, man. So many reasons. These dudes are like so relatable. Their like angst is so real. Like when they just like one example, when Jam gets handed these like preppy clothes from his mom and his friends are all like, who's that fucking nerd? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. Like, it just kind of does highlight these like outcasts so well. And I mean, all of their one-liners are like great. But I also just love all like the way that all 4 of them are friends. Like, you would believe that they're friends because they're all like, I mean, they're all into the same thing, but then they all have this, like, connection, or at least they feel like they have this connection for, like, their love of Kiss and their band, and, like, we're just gonna be, like, awesome. No, yeah, and I mean, other people don't think they're awesome, but they know they're awesome. Yeah. So I think that's why I love this movie.
Like, I guess that bond or whatever that the friends have, that I feel like it flows throughout the whole movie too. Like, it never fades away, even though they get mad at each other.
They get mad at each other, but I mean,
it's just temporary.
And I think that's like teenage boys, anyways. Like, they'll get mad and then just be like, "Oh, okay, let's."
They're supposed to be 16 in this, by the way.
Yeah, which is not really believable. I think they all look very old, but I think it's still fine. Maybe Jam looks like the youngest, but
I think Giuseppe could have been, I don't know, 17. You don't think he thinks?
I don't think so. I think we're doing a better job now of casting people that look younger and are truer to what a 16-year-old would look like, because the 16-year-olds in this movie looked a little too old for me. I was like, oh, I don't know if I believe you're 16.
I feel like the first few times I watched it, I never really put that together. Like, you know, that they were in high school, but I didn't really grasp that that's what they were trying to relay, is that these kids were that young.
Yeah, I mean, they're, like, losing their virginity and shit, like, in this movie. So it's fucking hilarious.
Next question. Do you think that this film has aged well?
I think so. I think the attire and the decor of just, like, Jam's room and the DJ, when they go see the DJ, like, all of that still looks pretty crisp, I think. But I also think it's, you know, meant to be a funny movie, and so all of the, like, silly, like, angles and, like, shots where, like, you know, the image kind of, like, sweeps off, you know, all of that works for what the movie is supposed to do, and so I think it still holds up. I love it.
Do you have a favorite character?
It has to be Hawk. He's the coolest of the cool.
I figured you would have said that.
What about you? Before you ask me any more questions, do you think this movie holds up?
Actually, yeah, because I feel like it transcends. I know this is based in 78, but I feel like it plays for every generation, because I can totally relate with these characters and what they, you know, go through. It might have not been Kiss, even though I'm a big Kiss fan. But like I said, I feel like this story transcends through every outcast, or somebody who's, you know, had just like their small group of friends and been looked at as like a freak or whatever, you know what I mean? Because I feel like in subculture and punk rock, or even just rock and roll, there's that stigma around, and they play with that in this movie, where you know, they like right in the beginning, Jam's mom is like, "Oh, your pants are so tight, I can see your penis," or whatever. And you know, I was adopted by my grandparents, so I didn't really get to have like the coolest childhood or whatever. So wearing what I like to wear, I got kind of harassed by my grandparents or whatever. Not to put them down or anything, but that's was just like they're just old school or whatever. They have a weird like outlook on life, or it's in the past. So that's why I feel like a personal connection with this movie, because it really, like, I feel like other people understand, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely. And I kind of, you know, being with both my parents growing up, and they didn't get it either, you know. They went away one time on vacation and left us, you know, behind, but they came back and I had, like, shaved off all my hair, and I had, like, the longest hair. It was, like, past my butt, you know? And they came back and they just, like, were like, why? You know, and they just didn't get it. And I was like, you don't get it. I'm punk rock, Mom. No, I mean, not that. At that time, I don't think I knew what I was into. I was about 12. But I knew that I wanted to listen to things that weren't on the radio and not be like every single person out there. Yeah. So I think that is a good reflection of like, you know, there are parents that are cool with whatever you do, but there's others that are just gonna freak out about any little thing that you do because it just doesn't seem normal, or, you know, quote unquote normal.
Very true.
And then what's your favorite character?
I think I really like Lex. I don't know why, but I've always been like, that's my dude or whatever from this movie. Yeah, I love like his aesthetic. I love the way his like little lisp.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time that I actually heard the little lisp come through, and I think it was when he's talking to the dogs that you kind of hear it a little bit more. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I love all of them equally. You know, Huck is my favorite, but they're all pretty funny and they all play an important role. But yeah, that's awesome. Any other questions?
My final one for you, at least for this movie, would be what would you rate this film 1 to 10?
It's definitely got to be like a 9.5.
Okay.
The only thing that doesn't make it perfect for me, and I know this is gonna seem like the silliest thing ever, but so when they originally have the tickets, and I don't, like I said, we don't want to ruin this, but I mean, we're gonna ruin it anyways.
Let's just talk freely. I don't care.
The beginning, they have these tickets, and they're like regular tickets, and then they win the tickets on the radio. Trip does, and then it was supposed to be like 4 tickets and 4 backstage passes. And then at the end, like, they go to it, and it's back to the original, like, setup where they did have these tickets, but you never get to see them partying backstage. So, to me, that's, like, a big heartbreak that, like, they were so close to it, but I think it just keeps true to, like, they're teenagers, and that might have not been as cool to see them, teenagers, like, partying with Kiss, but it would have still been pretty cool.
Well, so you think that maybe the movie ended a little too soon after the show?
No, I mean, I think it ends perfectly because they're, like, enjoying themselves at the concert, and Jam, you know, grabs the drumstick. But I definitely feel like, Trip, come on, you shouldn't have fucked up and hung up. But, I mean, that's what makes the movie. But, you know, it gets a 9.5 because it takes something truly special to get a 10, but I still enjoy watching this movie anytime, you know, just for a good laugh. So, yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I would say probably about a 9. And the only thing that I would say that was weird to me is the excessive, I feel like the soundtrack is great throughout the film, and I don't have a big problem with AC/DC, but I feel like they they use like 2 or 3 songs just from that. And my question would have been just like, why those, you know, why one band so much or whatever?
Maybe rights? I don't know. So, you want to hear something funny? And for everyone, I actually have this soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
And I love it. And I don't like AC/DC. At all, actually, but I love the soundtrack. So
do you listen to those tracks too?
You know, now that I think about it, I don't think there's any AC/DC on the soundtrack.
Really?
Or maybe if there is, there's one. I know that there's like the Marilyn Manson's on it, and the Donnas.
Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, for a cover of Highway to Hell.
That's weird because they used the real Highway to Hell. Yeah. Unless it was him.
On the credits, they use the Marilyn Manson version.
That's right.
But so I like the soundtrack, and you know what? I'm gonna have to like steal that back from my sister and hear it, but I don't remember too many AC/DC songs on the soundtrack. So maybe we need to go revisit that. But regardless, I love the soundtrack. I love the movie. I don't know how I ended up with the soundtrack. Maybe I picked it up at a CD store, maybe like Tower Records back in the day. I can't tell you now how I ended up with that. Another thing that I think the only reason why someone